Good day and welcome back to the 7th session of the Research Data Management module of the Data School. In this session, we will be focusing on data sharing and data preservation. Your presenter is Johan van Wyk. Please note that this presentation is based on a presentation by Venkataraman, which he did at the CoData RDA Data Science School in Trieste, Italy in 2019. This slide just shows you which areas in the data lifecycle we will be focusing on. One area is share and the other one is preserve. When you share your data, other researchers can reuse your data and use it for further research, processing and analysis. When you reuse someone else's data, it is called secondary data, and this type of data should be cited. When you create or generate your own data from scratch, it is called primary data. When you share your data openly, it is recommended that you add a Creative Commons license to the data, as this would indicate the conditions under which other researchers are allowed to use your data. On this slide, you will see a list of Creative Commons licenses, and next to them, it indicates the types of conditions under which people can use the data. The first one there is copy and publish, and you will see the majority of these licenses are allowing you to copy and publish the data. The next row is attribution required, and the majority of these licenses requires you to attribute the original author that created the data. The next row is commercial use, and under that only a number of these licenses allow people to use it for commercial purposes. The next row is modify and adapt, and those licenses allow you to modify the data which the original person has created, and to adapt the data. The last row gives you permission to even change the license under which this data was created originally. Creative Commons licenses are not the only open access licenses that are available. One can also use the Open Data Commons licenses and the Community Data License Agreements. There's also specific licenses available for software code. For example, the GNU General Public Licenses and an MIT license. The next session will now focus on preservation. In order to find the appropriate repository to deposit your data in, one can search on the Re3 Data Catalog. This catalog is available at https://www.re3data.org/. You will see on this slide just an example of how it will look like once you go into the Re3 Data catalog. And you can do a search there on different types of disciplines and to see which repository would be suitable for your data sets. There's also a video available on the site, and I've included the recording to that on the slide. On this map, you will see countries marked in green and some countries marked in blue. Those that are green have repositories that are listed under the Re3 Data catalog. Those that are in blue does not have any repositories listed under the Re3 Data catalog, and I would recommend, if you know of repositories in your country that is not listed in the Re3 Data catalog, that you would contact them to add those repositories in their catalog so that they can update this map. But you will see the majority of countries in Africa are not listed under the re3data.org catalog. Repositories can be grouped in 3 types of categories. You can get national repositories, for example, Figshare South Africa, SADILAR Resource Catalog, and Scion Data Portal. You can also get institutional repositories, for example, Figshare, Islandora, Dataverse, CCAN, DSpace, and many more. And then you can get domain-specific repositories, for example, BioGrid, which stands for Biological General Repository. You can get NanoHub, which focuses on computational and nanotechnology data. Zenodo, which focuses on high energy physics and other disciplines, and dry hat, which focuses on scientific and medical data. There are a number of criteria one should consider when selecting a repository. These are: use a domain-specific repository if available. Check that it matches your particular data needs. Look at the formats that it accepts. Does it have a mixture of open and restricted access? Does it assign a persistent and globally unique identifier to the data for sustainable citations, and does it link back to particular researchers and grants? Does it have a certification as a trusted digital repository with an explicit ambition to keep the data available in the long term? Now, on the bottom of this page, you will see just an example of a repository, the Easy repository, and at the top of that repositories page, there's a number of icons that will indicate whether it is open access. It will indicate the type of licenses it supports. It will also give you an indication whether it has persistent identifiers and what the type of certificates is that has been added, like a trusted repository and so on, to this specific repository. In this session, we touched on the sharing of research data and the difference between primary and secondary data. We also covered Creative Commons licenses and other types of licenses that can be added to your data. Next, we focused on data preservation and how to find the appropriate repository in which to deposit your data. The different types of repositories were also highlighted, namely national, institutional, and domain-specific. We also went through the criteria for selecting a repository. I would like you now to go to exercise 2 on sharing and preservation before you go to the next session on persistent identifiers, data citation, and open data. This is now the end of session 7. After completing the exercise 2, go then to session 8, persistent identifiers and data citation and open data.